Bridge now. Of course we hold position. Alright. We'll be holding here for a little bit while Argus swings in.
Roger.
Roger.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to time it as well as Ronnie did, but we'll see what happens.
That looked like a nice turn they did on the
They
last
did
one.
a really good job. I don't know how I did that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how. I just don't know if I can replicate.
Don't know how you're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Have faith.
This time tomorrow, I expect you to have it nailed.
Right.
Yeah, we got time to practice. I'll have a couple watches. With the length of these lines, we're looking at about one try a watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you all know I'm going to be doing 4 to 9.
Yeah, I saw that.
Allison's going to do 9 to 11. And Ed is going to do 11 to... No,
4.
Yeah, 11 to 4. We each have 5 hours. Allison has 2.
Wait, I'm missing something.
There's a drawing on the whiteboard. It helps you it'll help you visualize it.
Okay, I got it. Never mind. All right, we're good. Math. Alright. Got about 350 meters left and until Argus reaches the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks to those espresso beans, I'm not like nodding off like I was a minute ago.
Yeah.
Well, they did a noticeable kick like within a couple of minutes.
Well, see, I don't drink coffee like to wake up. Like it's more like I like it, but like I had that sort of like heavy eyelids thing going on, and now I'm not like saying I'm not tired, but I'm not like about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I came up at like, I don't know what time it was, like 1:30 or 2 to help when they got back on bottom.
Mm.
And then I went back to sleep for like an hour and a half. And then I got up again and I was just like, Oh my god.
Yeah.
So any sort of like trying to time my jet lag with my watch is just over.
Yeah.
That's out the window now.
No, that was. You guys,
Wendy still got it though.
No, we
No?
were up till what, like 11 fixing
Oh.
Argus last night.
All
so
right. So we're both out of
I'm
it then.
going to bed after breakfast.
We're all tired. Yeah.
That didn't take long.
Nope.
Oh.
All right. Well.
Yeah, no, definitely lucked out getting into Honolulu, having like a day and a half, and then with the real long transit, we had like 3.5 days or so. It was, you know, I was just mapping watches, so definitely gave us a chance to catch up.
Yeah. So for mapping watches, what have you guys been doing? Is it like you, the SCF, and a video person?
No, it's just Navigator. We just sit down in the
In the data lab?
data lab and
Oh, man.
watch sub bottom and the multi beam.
At least you're not up here in the dark by yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. From about like 4 to 6 in the morning, it was a little lonely.
Yeah.
But besides that, Aaron, who is our mapping coordinator for the last cruise, would usually get up early and be up late, because I don't think she really stopped working.
I think this is just a rock, but I'm going to log it.
Roger. 60 starboard.
Yeah. Yep. About 50. 50 to
50.
starboard. So right on the line that we should have done. And again, if we miss targets, I'm going to be importing all this data into a processing software in my off time, and running through everything again. So, you know, if you're like, oh, you know, I really wish I'd logged something, it's not completely lost. We're recording it, and we can go back and target stuff again.
All right, thank you.
All right. Save. More likely it's when I hit delete or close or something instead of save is when we're going to miss something, not when someone doesn't log something.
Yeah, that would be pretty stressful if it was you either see it or that's it.
Well, yeah. And the other mode of survey for this sort of thing is with AUVs, where you don't get to watch it in real time. You know, it goes off and does its thing and comes back hours or even up to a day later, and then you get to look at all the data and you're like, oh hey, we found something. Now we get to program it to go back, or you don't really know what it's doing until it comes back and you can download all the data. It's a very different mode of operation.
Did you have a description for that target?
It was about 40 meters in length and linear, but blocky. Like it was, I think it's rock, but it was like the right length to have been a wing-ish. I don't know.
All right.
Do we know how big the explosion was? So do we know that the wreck would be like most likely complete or entire?
Well, no. So
No. Okay.
we know how much fuel had been on board, and we know that they were dumping fuel while they were trying to make an emergency landing. So it's obviously less than what they were carrying. And we had a colleague who's an explosives expert do the math, and it was if it had been all the fuel that was on board, it could have been a fairly large detonation. But they had some fuel in the belly of the plane, and then there's also fuel storage in the wings. And we believe, because that's where the engines were, and we believe that the explosion was in the belly of the plane because there was material from the cockpit, like the arm of a chair, like with the captain's chair, was some of the debris recovered. So we believe that the cockpit is not intact, and that's where the explosion occurred. So I do think that it's very likely that the wing could be intact. But we don't really know the size of the explosion. Yeah, we know that there was a flash and smoke witnessed from people on the island, but that's about all we have on that.
Okay. Yeah, for the people that are just following us, what you are seeing is exactly what we are seeing. So this is not past recording or anything. This is exactly what we're seeing now.
So when you're able to analyze it later and look at it in the software, does it take these imperfections due to the C's, you know, the up and down that we're getting in the curves? Is it able to compensate for that and kind of straighten everything out?
Sometimes there are, well, so if you see on the bottom of the screen, it's reading out heading, pitch, roll, heave, and heave has 0. So I don't think there's an input of the heave readout into the sonar system because it's not the typical towfish it's using. So I don't think we're going to have any luck applying the heave to it. So it may not be as pretty of a data product as we would like, just because we're not really using the towfish the sonar as it was designed in its own towfish housing.
Understood.
Is there a way to get that heave ring? Like, I know the multi-beam has it. Is there a way to get it from that, or would you have to turn the system on?
We did get like the USBL info from Argus into here, but things like Argus's depth, it's somehow, and I guess the heave, it's just not reading. I'm not sure if it's a data parsing issue, like it's just not receiving the feed in the right order type thing. I was happy just to get lat long into it because that is fairly large for positioning. And I think it would take quite a bit more of Justin kind of tinkering with it if it's even possible to get it in there. I'm not sure. It's weird that it has like some number for altitude, or no, it's getting altitude from itself because it can see where the seabed is, but it doesn't have depth or heave or speed or course. So again, it's because like the other towfish is actually built to have all these inputs associated with it, and here we're kind of faking it by putting the transducers on a different, quote unquote towfish, which isn't really a towfish. I'm sure there are ways to do it, but not right now.
Bridge now. Request we step to port to the selected target.
Alright, I'm going to stop this and make it a turn file, Rebecca.
Okay.
So I'm just adding turn in here and hitting record again.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna come over and ship's probably gonna change heading. But yeah, we'll be stepping to port and then potentially turning around.
Well, I came up, yeah, pretty hard, but yeah.
What line are we heading to next?
10. Yeah, line 10.
How many lines do we have?
A lot. They are numbered 21, 2, 22.
Okay. Well.
It's not that many.
Oh, we have to do all these tonight?
That was, yeah. We're behind. No. We're set up for, what, at a knot, they'd be about 2 hours a line,
Okay.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we're scheduled for a 44-hour dive, conveniently.
Oh, yeah. What math? Works out. Yeah, as long as I,
Making a lot of numerical connections.
yeah, you're really killing it.
Feeling
That's
really,
great.
really connected. Bringing it all together.
Yeah, as long as we don't botch these turns, which is another way of saying, as long as I don't botch these turns, because running in miles, I'm sure we'll be fine. We'll stay on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to check with Mike to see if if we'd be able to stream high pack, just so everyone at home can judge your turns.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I'll just tell you guys if it's good. It's like if you ever do something cool, you know, sometimes it's alright to video it, and sometimes just don't, because then it's as cool as you want it to be.
What?
Don't record things, that way you can make up whatever story you want.
I wish I was recording when we saw that mermaid riding a unicorn, though.
Can you just
Yeah.
maybe flick the auto heading off for a second,
Okay.
but turn your other thruster on, and then go and then try. It looks like it's having a hard time.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if like that fin is kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Are we able?
Yeah, that's a lot less effort.
Yeah.
Are we able to get AF cam on one of the multi?
Yep. Which one would you like it in?
Whichever one, 6.
Is that okay with ROV team?
Those are for Herc.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all
We're yeah, just the way we're changing ship's heading, I want to make sure we're not
I can give you a port as well if you want.
pulling it too much.
I'll put the wire back in the middle one too.
Now this is interesting. So we've started to come to port, but Argus started to swing to starboard.
Yeah, a little bit, eh?
Physics?
I think it's because we changed ship's heading, so the wire technically moved a little bit to starboard. We'll see. Get a play-by-play on this.
Interesting on the side scan right now.
Big smear.
Yeah, I think we're dragging it sideways.
Yeah, well, because we're still kind of swinging this way,
Yeah.
but we're facing more.
Yeah, I'm
south.
guessing this is kind of what they were looking at when they got that maybe target.
Huh. It's a circular rock loss.
Yeah, it looks like a circular rock.
Can I zoom in on it?
Go
Ah,
ahead.
video gets to zoom.
Oh yeah.
So exciting.
Wow.
Uh,
Alright, that was good. Back out.
yeah, we don't have the sort of capabilities we have with Herc.
Just wanted to make sure it was still working.
Looks like an altar.
While we switch lines, let me say hello to the people that are following us from a lot of countries around the world.
That's awesome.
That's great. Thanks for following us. A las personas que nos están siguiendo desde España y países en Latinoamérica también pueden hacernos preguntas en español. Mientras yo estoy de turno, podría contestarles en español.
Yeah.
Gracias por seguirnos.
Whenever the bow thrusters come up, the USBL track looks more like a heart monitor than a track. So I realize now that I'm at a distinct disadvantage because now it's time for me to start using excuses for this turn. That based on the angle and just the fact that Argus is tracking to the left of the line, my turn is a lot smaller of a window than Rennie got. Yep, that's what I'm going
Was
with.
he
You're gonna
had
stick with
wind?
that?
Did he
Okay.
have wind and current helping him?
That's
or something?
my story, and I'm sticking to it. This turn has been uphill both ways.
So Mike, could you tell us a little bit more about the difference between a side scan sonar and a regular sonar?
Sure. So, well, by regular sonar, I assume you mean the multi-beam.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different types of sonar.
Mm-hmm.
There's active and there's passive. So passive is what Navy submarines use, where they're just listening to other noises. Active is where we're using an instrument that sends out a ping, and then we measure the receiver. So those are two different types of sonars. All of this that we're using are active sonars. We have like 3 or 4 going at once now. We've got the sector scanning sonar that's on Argus, and it's looking ahead of it. We have a sub-bottom profiler on both the ship and on Argus, and what that does is sends a ping, a fairly low frequency ping, so it actually sounds more like a finger snap, and it goes directly below the ship or the vehicle, and it's able to penetrate into the sediment and look at layers in the substrate below the seafloor. And it's also it's your typical fish finder. It's just kind of a depth sounder as well. And then we have the hull-mounted multi-beam, which is a very complex sonar, and it has a huge array of transducers inside it. It's in a bubble or blister on the front of the bow, and it's able to do the high-resolution mapping that you've seen Nautilus doing during transits and also during mapping expeditions. And it can map down to like the full depth of the seafloor in large swaths that give us really high resolution bathymetry. And then the side scan sonar is different from all of that because it's 2 transducers on the side of the towfish that send out pings slightly downward and slightly to the side. And so that's why we have a bit of a blind spot directly below us. And then we see these the waterfalls or the data coming in to either side.
Got it. Thank you.
Right around where that
wire camera is.
Mm-hmm.
Little cover on the little winch they got there.
Yeah.
There's a spider on it, and like it's this big.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
That's the problem with going to all these tropical islands.
Huge.
You can't see it in the camera. We saw it last night when we were working on the vehicles.
Oh. That's gonna make me sleep better at night.
Oh, it's terrifying. I couldn't even get a sensible picture of it. I was too scared to go ahead.
There's a softball-sized spider just sitting there waiting.
Oh, come on.
That's cool.
Yeah, we went from looking at sea spiders to having giant tropical spiders just sitting on the ship.
We could get Mark to deal with it. He's not afraid of anything.
Yeah. Just walk over there, pick it up, go put it in a box with some food until we get back to the island.
Get off of here.
Go back home.
Or he'll keep it in his cabin.
Or he'll just keep it.
Just grow it bigger.
Yeah, so that no one will come in and bother
Yeah.
him.
Have you guys seen Harry Potter?
Aragog?
Yeah. Hagrid keeps the spider until it grows to this massive thing that everyone's afraid of.
Turn's starting to look pretty good.
Yeah. I figure with the overlap that we're getting, we're still getting a full coverage of the search area.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, we'll stop here in a minute and then start tracking the line again. 11 meters to go. Martina's fine-tuning it to get us right on the point. Bridge, nav. Request we start tracking the selected line bearing 080 at 1 knot. Thank you.
Now for our followers, you can see how the boat is turning, and we're starting the new line.
Huh.
So Mike, would you tell us something about the spacing between the track lines?
Yeah, so we had initially put it at 300 meters because we were going to do coverage at 150 meter spacing. So that's to either side is the range. So it adds up to 300. But because we found that we could see the seabed quite well with Argus at a slightly lower altitude, we adjusted it to 200 meter spacing so that we optimized for 100 meter range.
Okay.
What would form like the two parallel circles line at the bottom left-hand corner?
That could be like a repeat reflection or something.
Okay.
You see how sometimes when you have the rocks, they do that to the further to the left. That is a bit weird. There's other ones that are just coming off the screen here too.
Alrighty, picking speed back up.
Yep. It's a good turn.
Thank you. Can we record that somewhere?
It's all recorded.
Perfect.
The SPL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of it now.
Not the high-back screen, but
No, that's okay. It's only the validation that I needed.
Interesting target ahead there.
Just waiting to see sea cucumber again. See it all the way from Argus, dude. Just like, no, please no.
Don't, more of
don't do it again.
When did we put one of the thrusters on?
Yeah, we were just because we were having trouble with heading.
Cool.
I'll shut it off once we
yeah, no worries.
once we get right on the right line.
Cool. Thank you.
So have we found any promising targets yet?
There were a couple that they found on the last watch that they found on the turn, which is, of course they did. And so we're going to go back over them and see if we can get a better look at them.
Oh, cool.
So they're at the end of the last line. So when we come up to do the next line to the north, which will be line like 13, I guess, we're going to plan a route right over those two to get them better, because it was like 125 meters out into our range, so it's on the edge of our range, and it was during a turn, so they weren't very well resolved. And at that point, you can just kind of make it see whatever you want it to see.
The line's at 080.
Yep. Does the wire cam there switch automatically between infrared and... Okay.
Yeah.
Just flicking on and off there for a second.
Wow.
I have the log sheet. I'm sorry.
Thanks to Steven that It's showing us a little bit of the sun rise there. On the quad. So for the people that are following us, you can see how the sunrise in American Samoa looks like. Bad thing about this watch, having this watch, is we miss all the sunrises and sunsets.
Yeah, we made sure Steven made it a thing to always put up the sunrise and sunset on the last one. And actually, someone said they were watching the quad view in the lounge and went, "Oh wow, that's a really great sunset," and ran outside. It actually didn't look as good out there just because of all the glare. So. All right, the ship is starting the line.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to switch over the turn file till the Argus is at the line.
Yeah, we've got about 190 meters for Argus to catch up.
Kind of a random question, but how many gigabytes of data is expected to be collected from all this sonar mapping?
I don't know about specific gigabytes, but I mean, this writes like 600 megabyte files every, I don't know, half hour, hour. So it adds up fast, but it's nowhere near the terabytes that we generate of video data.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't. Yes, this should turn on down. That's one of them. Where was that? That was in 6 or something, wasn't it? Anywhere you want, yeah. All right, that's enough of that. Steve, can you throw something else up in number 1 there? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I was trying to Google it, but seen those a couple of times.
Purple things?
Mm-hmm.
They look similar to some type of cnidarian.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think it might be a sea cucumber. Oh.
Oh, or it could be the pelagic sea cucumber.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were pelagic sea cucumbers. I thought they were all benthic.
No, it's the one type that lives its entire life off the seafloor.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, they look a little different. But yeah, they still do the same thing. They eat the marine snow.
Kind of looks like that.
But they just hover in the water column. I told you we were gonna see sea cucumbers.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yay.
Well, the problem we were having before was every time we looked at one of the benthic ones,